Hello guys, Lit here. So today I want to play with my most favorite strategy, which is Blightheart. It does get nerfed this league, so I want to see how good the strategy works this league. So I play around with it, and I think I found a decent setup for Scarabs farms. So Blightheart Scarabs will make your Blight spawn a lot more monster, but you're only going to have one chest at the end of the Blight. So it's a very different approach for normal Blight. And on the setup that we're going to showcase today, we will focus on the unique monster. And the strategy difficulty is very high, so you will require a strong character because the Blight bosses can be very tanky and they have additional modifiers, so they can go pretty wild. So for the maps, I'm running it on Dune T16.5, mainly for the T17 Protest drop, but you can do it on other maps which probably going to reduce your cost, therefore going to increase your profit. And for the map, I'm looking for at least 90% Scarabs. Scarabs is pretty hard to roll, so I aim for 90. Ideally, you want 100% more, but in my case, I just put it 90 at the minimum. And for the Scarab, I'm going to use one Blightheart Scarabs and one Blight Scarabs all configurations. This is going to make your Empower Tower also affecting other enemies. And the goal is you build one Chill Tower, one Stun Tower, and just put Empower Tower on the rest, so you empower the monster as much as possible. They will give you the maximum loot. One Blade Scarab for blooming to add more unique monster, and one Titanic Scarab to make that unique monster have more quantity and more rarity based on your pack size, and one Titanic Scarab of Legends to give them 2 additional modifier. 2 additional modifier will make them a lot harder, but it also going to drop a lot more loot. And as for the passive tree, this is the passive tree I'm using. We take this node over here. This is really important because it's going to give you more non-unique monster. It is a non-unique monster, but it's still an additional loot, so you still want as much monster on your Blight as possible. And these two not over here to reduce the cost of the building because you want to build the Emperor Tower as fast as possible. And I do block some Scarab because this is Scarab farms, and blocking these Scarabs will basically exclude the cheap Scarab out of the pool. Like for example, like a build Scarab is very cheap. Expedition is also doesn't really worth that much. I think only 1 or 2 of the Scarab that actually worth something. Legion Scarab price has fallen down, and Delirium is also the Scarab that are pretty cheap, and also Ritual. So the block section here is depending on the economy. Just block out the Scarab that are cheap. And this 4 node over here is not for Ultimatum. We just want the Scarab drop in your map have increased chance to be Ultimatum Scarab, because Ultimatum Scarab is a very good Scarab to hunt for right now because all of them have a decent price. And this node is also very important. This is going to make your unique monster have 200% chance to drop more Scarabs, and because we are mostly hunting unique monsters, you do want to take this one. And I do not take any node on the Blight chest over here because we only have one Blight chest at the end, so this doesn't really give a lot of value. And this node will make the Blight monster take more damage. This is really important, especially if your character is not as strong yet. And this cluster is going to give you basically one lane full of Blight bosses, which is really good for this farm. For the altars, I still taking red altars because it fit with my build, and I do not really invest a lot of the red altars because I think red altars I tried with full investment on the node and not. The difference is kind of minimal. It's probably going to make a lot more difference for the blue altars, but for the red altars, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So I just decided to take the minimum point. And the middle node over here just for the quantity, and this node going to give us more chance to get ambush. So Containment Scarab, which is an ambush Scarabs, and Catalyzing, which is an Ultimatum Scarab, that is the 2 most expensive Scarab right now. And this node will make the Scarab that found in your map to be less common variety. It just gives you more chances to get like rare Scarabs. And the rest of them just more Scarabs node. I do take some maps node. You probably don't really need this. If you don't plan it to do it on Dune or any map that have a good T17, you can basically drop the map nodes and just put in more Scarabs nodes because this is a Scarab farms. So that's basically for the passive tree. And for the result, this is the result that I get. As you can see, we got a lot of Scarabs, and we do get decent amount of maps and some decent amount of currency. And for the cost, we are using T16 originator. The map running cost here I put in is 10C, so 10C average. I don't think I spend more than this, but it is also can be depend on what build you play, because if your build cannot do a lot of mod, then you will spend more currency to rolling the maps. And we're going to use the Blight map on map device, and also the configuration is the most expensive one. I think that now it's like 50-50. Price is going up and down. It's between 50 to 60. Sometimes it does go up. So pay attention to the price of the configurations because this is the biggest chunk of the cost. So for the manual pricing, I have 3 items that I manual pricing here. The first one is the originator. This is 20C each, and the random originator is 8C. And for the fortress, E70C. I sell all my fortress at 70C. It still sells really well. And I do get some unique, which is quite a lot of currency, but I'm not including it into the calculations. For example, like Fadonastra is 2 divine, the Everman S is also 2 divine. This 2 jewel, I think the combined value is like 10 divine or something like that. It's a pretty high roll. So there is an additional income that you get from unique, and you get decent amount of unique on these farms. But I just do not like to include unique on my calculations. So these calculations should be on the lower end of the profit. So with the cost and profit, we are net profit at 83 divine. And the average month time here I put is 5.5 minutes. You should be able to aim for 5 minutes because the Blight is very different from last league. Like last league, you have like a lot of monster and Blight going for very long. In this one, the Blight doesn't necessarily go for very long, and you do not fight as many monsters as before, so it definitely a lot faster. And my build is not that strong, and my time is 5.5 minute average. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes slower. It's really depending on, like, sometimes it will take a lot longer because I keep dying on the Blight bosses. But sometimes everything is working fine, and I can finish this in like 4.5 minutes, something like that. So I think the average is around 5.5 minutes. So with this average map time, we are at 18 divine per hour. So this is pretty good number, very close to 20 div. And if you have a very strong build and you can push this into 5 minutes per maps, we are very close to 20 divine. I mean, especially 20 divine per hours, right? So the strategy is pretty fun to do, but it's very difficult, especially because of the technical setup of legends. The unique Blight bosses can be very annoying to deal with. And because we are doing it on T16.5, you also have to deal with all the T17 mod. So just make sure that if you want to do this strategy, have a very strong build that able to do this kind of stuff. So I think that's all I have for you today. And if you guys have any questions, leave in the comment below as usual. And thank you everyone for watching, really appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one.